I'll try this again. Is that better?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, good evening, electors of the City of Bayswater. I will officially open this evening's annual general meeting at 7 p.m. Please note this meeting is being live streamed. The purpose of this meeting is to present the annual report 2024-2025 year to the community and to allow electors to ask questions and raise motions about matters relating to the City of Bayswater. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we are meeting, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. Item 3 is attendance, and I'd like to welcome all members of the public, councillors and staff who have taken the time to attend tonight's meeting. The City's Chief Executive Officer has provided an apology for tonight, and Luke Bodica, the Director of Infrastructure and Assets, is sitting in his place. So I'd like to outline the procedures for tonight. First, we will consider the annual report for 2024-25 financial year. The annual report provides key insights into the City of Bayswater's projects, achievements and financial situation for that period. I will be asking for an elector to move and an elector to second the receipt of the annual report, and will then ask all those in favour of the motion to raise their hands. Following that, I will ask anyone who is not in favour to raise their hands. Please keep your hands up until I advise you to lower them so that our officers may count the votes. Following consideration of the annual report, we will move on to general business, with the first being elector questions. So at the start of general business, electors will be offered the opportunity to ask questions and will be permitted to ask up to 3 questions. And we will endeavour to answer those this evening. However, questions that require a detailed response will be taken on notice and responses provided in the minutes for this meeting. We then go on to elector motions. These motions must be moved and seconded before any discussion is to occur. The mover and seconder and any other elector will be permitted to speak for up to 3 minutes on the motion. The mover of the motion will then have the right of reply for up to 3 minutes. Each elector present is entitled to 1 vote, but you don't need to vote. You can vote on some, you can vote on all, or you don't have to vote on any. When calling for votes on a motion, I will first ask for those in favour of the motion to raise their hands and will then ask for those against the motion to raise their hands. The minute taker will be counting the votes tonight, so please leave your hands up to allow them time to do an accurate count. I will then declare whether the motion has been carried or lost. Each motion will be conducted by a simple majority, and voting is conducted so no vote will be secret. Please keep your comments respectful to councillors, staff and other members of the public here tonight. We will now move on to consideration of the annual report. And I'd like to introduce the annual report for the 24-25 financial year. The 2024-25 annual report and financial statements, including the independent auditor's report, were adopted by Council at its meeting held on the 20th of January 2026. Could I please call for an elector to move to receive the annual report? Moved, Sue. I have a seconder. Seconded by David Dyke. So all of those in favour, please raise your hands. Thank you. All those against, please raise your hands. No one? That is carried. Okay, so we now move on to general business and we begin with the questions from electors. We have received how many questions? We have received 16 questions from electors and I'll call upon those people to ask their questions. So when you come forward, please approach the lectern and speak into the microphone and state your name and suburb before you proceed to ask your question. So can I please begin with Matthew Morgan?
My name is Matthew Morgan from Bayswater. My first question is, bus route 41 underwent extensive community engagement prior to the opening of Bayswater train station. Senior citizens and disabled people depend on bus route continuity. The council unanimously passed item 10.3.2 on the 28th of October 2025 meeting that will alter this bus route. Why did council vote to alter this route without considering the consequences for this route, its patrons and the community consultation involved?
Thank you for your question. Council's decision was to support the project proceeding to stage 2 design and to undertake community consultation. The Public Transport Authority will be consulted regarding bus movements through the intersection as part of the community engagement stage of the project.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, my next question is question 2. The council stated in January 2026 meeting, it should be further noted that vehicles will not be able to turn left onto Stone Street from Garrett Road during a red signal. How does the City of Bayswater guarantee this, given that Main Roads is a state government department that holds the sole authority to control, alter, install and maintain traffic signals under the Traffic Code 2000?
Thank you for your question. The statement referred to in the question above, it should be further noted that vehicles will not be able to left turn into Stone Street from Garrett Road during a red signal, was issued by officers in response to a question taking on notice and is not attributed to the council. Whilst Main Roads is responsible for the traffic signal assets, the City is responsible for advising Main Roads on how the council wishes to operate the intersection. Main Roads does not modify the operation without council concurrence.
But they have full control of it.
They don't alter it without the concurrence of the City of Bayswater.
They're different government departments.
They work together.
Yeah, but I mean, there's been plenty of examples where state governments do what they want. And it doesn't matter what the council.
Mr. Morgan, we don't enter into debate at this point. That's the answer to the question.
Question number 3. Are the City of Bayswater using traffic and speed counters to verify that City of Belmont residents are not using Bayswater residential streets to bypass main roads and traffic light signals?
The City uses traffic counters to collect anonymous vehicle data, which includes traffic volumes, speeds and class of vehicle. It is impossible to determine whether drivers of vehicles are City of Belmont residents. Thank you. Can I please call Peter Oliver?
Yeah. Peter Oliver from Morning. Question number 1. Does the city acknowledge that the trees within Newington Reserve along Fleming Close to Belcourt currently extend beyond the wooded bollard boundary and overhang the grass verge area and roadway, contributing to the ongoing accumulation of gum nuts, branches and debris that make it dangerous passage for and risk for pedestrians and cyclists?
Thank you for your question. So the trees in question are maintained in accordance with the city's urban tree planting and maintenance policy. Tree branches that extend beyond a reserve boundary into a road reserve is common and under the policy is considered acceptable.
Maybe for you. I'm a 70-year-old person trying to walk through there. Yeah. You would be up here for thinking. Second question. Has the city undertaken any permanent or regular action regarding the accumulation of gum nuts and branches along Fleming Close and Belcourt and along the grass verge area of Newington Reserve in relation to slip and trip hazards for pedestrians and cyclists and obstructions risk for vehicles?
Thank you for your question. The trees are pruned to maintain essential clearances and maintain public safety. These trees were pruned to remove dead wood and hanging branches in November 2025. The area is currently swept using the city's street sweeper at a higher than normal frequency, being amongst the most visited locations in the city of Bayswater. The city has also initiated a works tender for the citywide collection of gum nuts, which will see monthly services in high debris locations such as this one.
It's a daily occurrence. Are you going to do it daily?
I take that on board.
No. Is it correct that pruning the tree back to the park boundary defined by the wooden bollards to achieve a safe experience for pedestrians and cyclists using Fleming Close, Belcourt and Marconi Street cannot be undertaken under delegated authority and requires a formal council resolution?
Yes, that is correct. Thank you. Can I please call Janice Samet?
Hi, I'm Jan Zammett from Fleming Close.
Janice, do you mind just pulling the microphone?
Will the city provide a pathway around and through Newington Reserve? There's a lot of children who ride bikes, scooters, etc. They go on the road. The possibility of falling off, injuring is very high for those children because they have to go on the road. There's no pathway around the park. There is certainly no pathway into the playground, which there's many mothers that have prams and young toddlers. They're always having to walk across all the honky nuts. They're younger, it's probably a bit easier for them, but as Peter from Belcourt says, it's very difficult. I walk a lot, his wife walks a lot, and we can't go around the park any longer because of all these nuts. So we have to sort of go farther afield, basically walk on the road because, as you know, there's hardly any footpaths anywhere.
Thank you for your question. So in regards to the pathway along Newington Street between Solace Road and Marconi Street is included in the draft pathway master plan. Based on the current scoring system, this path receives a lower score than many others across the city, and it is not expected to be constructed for at least 5 years.
Okay, my second question, will the city provide a drinking fountain for park users and their dogs? There's a high usage, especially in the evening, of people coming to walk their dogs. There's no facilities whatsoever apart from the poop bags.
Thank you for your question. The city's play space plan includes park classifications that guide what park infrastructure is provided in each of our parks across the city. Based on the plan, a drink fountain is not proposed for.
Will the city upgrade play equipment as it's totally useless and
Thank you for your question. So the current play equipment was installed in 2017 and the equipment is audited every 3 years for safety and the city can confirm that it complies with all the current standards. The play equipment is halfway through its life cycle and it will be replaced in 2034.
as I recall. Yeah. Originally, and they
Can I please call David Dyke?
David Dyke, Mainlands. On the 1st of June 2021, I put a proposal to the RAC, that's Reconciliation Action Committee, and City of Bayswater on joint naming of Mulgamonga. I have many Aboriginal elders asking me, when is this happening to be approved by Landgate? Would you please advise where this proposal is at?
Thank you for your question. In 2024-2025, the city engaged with elders and traditional owners on the Place Names project, which decoded 5 ancient Noongar place names from the area in and around Bayswater, including Mulgamonga. At the 27th of May 2025 Ordinary Council meeting, Council resolved to undertake the formal dual naming process for Barton Park with Mulgamonga. Since that time, the city has been liaising with Landgate, who have advised that re-engagement with local elders and traditional owners is required to obtain endorsement of the name Mulgamonga for the purposes of formal dual naming. This consultation will occur early this year, with wider community consultation to follow.
Thank you.
Can I please call Kate Bowker?
Good evening. I have a few questions. So my first question is related to the City of Bayswater's bike plan. It was most recently updated in 2023, and I'm asking what the status of the actions identified in this plan are.
Thank you for your question. So 10 actions from the City of Bayswater Bike Plan 2023 have been prioritised for delivery in the 25-26 financial year. As at the end of the Q2, one of these actions has been completed, 7 are on track for delivery and 2 have not yet commenced. Further information on the status of individual actions can be provided by the city officers upon request.
My second question is about the Perth Inner City Group, is an alliance between the cities of Perth, South Perth, Subiaco, Vincent and the town of Vic Park. They're working together to drop the speed limit on local roads to 40 kilometres an hour. Perth Inner City Group has worked with the WA Local Government Association, Main Roads WA and the Road Safety Commission on this region-wide project. Will the City of Bayswater join the alliance? And if not, why not?
Thank you for your question. So the City of Bayswater hasn't been invited to join the alliance, and we are working on implementing area speed zone reductions to 40 kilometres as the low-cost urban road safety program is rolled out across the city, and it is demonstrated that the traffic treatments have had effect. The low-cost urban road safety program has been progressing, and the city is collecting the necessary data to support the area speed zone changes.
So I think my question hasn't been answered. I've asked, why are we not joining it? So I don't think we need to be invited. We can probably ask to join it.
We don't have intentions to do that.
Why not?
It's not something that's been discussed by council.
My question is about the City of Bayswater street verge policy. So point number 5 in this policy states, under no circumstances is synthetic lawn permitted as a permissible verge treatment. How many verges in the City of Bayswater have synthetic lawn verges? What communication has been provided to ratepayers explaining that synthetic lawn is not allowed on verges? And how is compliance with the policy enforced?
Thank you for your question. The provisions of the updated street verges policy do not apply retrospectively. Therefore, synthetic lawn verges in place prior to adoption of the policy are permissible. The total number of these is not a statistic held by the city. The city's verge policy and information is provided on the city's website. When the city becomes aware of a new synthetic lawn verge treatment, it firstly engages with the adjoining resident to discuss and explain the issue and the actions required. If compliance is still an issue, the city can use the provisions contained within its activities in thoroughfares and public places and trading local law 2020.
Okay, so people need to report it to the city. There's no proactive
No.
program. Okay, thank you.
Can I please call upon Wendy Garstone?
Garstone, Maylands. This council has been working towards a tree canopy target since 2016. The target at the moment is 20% by 2035. And last year, the state government announced a canopy target of 30% by 2040 for the Perth Hill area. So my question is, when will the city reassess the projected canopy coverage for the city in light of this recent state canopy target, and also in light of the state government urban greening strategy, the urban greening strategies action plan, and the Let's Grow grants?
Thank you for your question. The city is currently recruiting an urban forest officer, and this new position will review the city's strategy against the state's strategy, and amongst other activities will assist in securing available grants for the city.
Thank you.
Can I please call Lou Daly?
Thank you, Mayor. Lou Daly from Naranda. On Australia Day this year, I took an elderly gentleman, 93, to City of Stirling. He won the Senior Cits Award. It was a brilliant day, and I noticed the 2 local members, one for Morley, excuse me, my throat's a bit dry, one for Maylands.
Would you like some water?
Yes, thanks. Was in attendance. And they didn't get much to say. In fact, they said nothing. But I thought, why weren't they at City of Bayswater on Australia Day? Thank you. My question is, will the City of Bayswater reconsider having Australia Day on the 26th of the month? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. The council will be considering a motion in relation to Australia Day functions at our ordinary council meeting next week, 24th of February.
Thanks, that's, I hope it's positive action. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I please call Lazar Radanovic?
Lazar Radanovic, Bayswater. My question is really simple, and given that there's a climate crisis, how is the city informing ratepayers of the importance of tree retention on private property when developing private property, given that up to 80% of canopy loss is from private property?
Thank you for your question, and I'll have to go to the director to respond.
Thank you for your question. Look, it's a relevant and important part of the development assessment process. We work with all of our applicants to retain trees as much as possible. The council has a policy, a local planning policy on trees, which sets out and landscaping, which sets out things like tree protection zones and requirements through the development process to ensure that as many trees and canopy can be protected as possible.
Thank you. Now please call Branko Radanovic.
I reference existing well-established birch trees under overhead power lines and pruned annually. Considering these trees are cut back to the same canopy size each year, how do they show on the LiDAR individual tree identification data any increase in canopy?
Thank you for your question. I'll go to the director.
Thank you.
You able to explain that question a bit more?
Can't hear you,
Sorry,
Luke.
Luke, could you speak?
Can't hear you.
I'll just, can you explain that question a bit further in terms of what you
Well,
see?
simply is, in simple terms, without the LiDAR, etc. When the birch trees are cut back every year, they're cut back to the same size every year. So therefore, we're not getting any additional canopy coverage year after year. So therefore, is it true to say that the end result is nil advancement to the canopy coverage?
So just to clarify, Branka, you're only talking about, when you say nil canopy coverage, you're only talking about the specific trees under power lines.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Just to be clear.
Well, that's my introductory, was I reference existing well-established birch trees, so that nice big old trees that have been there for 50, 60, 80 years. Under power lines, they get pruned back to their size every year. It's the same old size, they get cut back to the same size. So how do they increase any canopy cover in our city? Do they or don't they?
I'll go to the director.
Trees under power lines account for about 30,000 out of about 140,000 trees across the city. So you're correct. When they get pruned, they don't actually grow because we're always maintaining them to the same height clearance. Potentially they could grow a bit wider as the trees grow, because we do cut mainly from the top. We do cut a bit from the sides to be able to reach the top. But you're correct. It probably doesn't add much to the canopy coverage. We are counting on the other 110,000 trees to keep growing and adding to that canopy coverage across the city, plus the additional trees that we are planting as well. What we're hoping to do is that with the underground power that's being rolled out across Perth, that should enable us to get some greater canopy coverage where the power lines move.
Absolutely. It's probably a preamble to my motion. It's probably why.
I got it. Okay, so that concludes question time. We'll now move to motions from electors. So as with public questions, please approach the lectern, speak into the microphone and state your name and suburb before moving your motion. Can I please call Matthew Morgan?
My name's Matthew Morgan, 7 Training Road, Bayswater. Okay, you don't see, if you walk across Trayland, Queen, Percy or Stone Street, you don't see many kids playing on the street. And that's because we have rat runs in our, on our streets. So there's a rat run.
Sorry, what we'll need to do is read out the motion and then I'll ask for a seconder before any discussion on the motion. So do you want to read it?
That council also install a restricted movement traffic calming device for Trayland Road consistent with the traffic calming treatment of Williamson and Mill Street in anticipation of the proposed Garrett Road and Stone Street signalised crossing. This restricted movement traffic calming device will be designed to prevent drivers to use Trayland Road, Queen Street, Percy Road and Stone Street to bypass a signalised crossing.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconded Kate Bowker. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So as I was saying, there's not many kids playing on these streets. The reason is it's a rat run. It's a rat run between the corner of Guildford and Garrett Road, those traffic lights. People bypass it. The roads are dangerous, noisy, and basically unsafe. About 40 years ago, 80% of kids used to walk or ride to school and 20% would drive. Nowadays, it's the other way around. 20% walk or drive, walk or ride, and 80% drive. And the reason is that our roads have become unsafe with time. Now, the City of Bayswater has taken one step forward with this Electors program, but they're going to take two steps back, and that's with this motion 10.3.2 that was passed in the October ordinary meeting. We had 5 deputations on this short notice against this. Despite this, Council unanimously passes. This will encourage rat running because it gives drivers not just 1 but 2 traffic lights to bypass through a residential area. They've come up with a few assurances, but these assurances are flawed. Firstly, they're going to ask Main Roads to control the signals. Now, we've heard council before with tree pruning basically say, oh look, we can't help our Western Power prune the trees. That's not our responsibility, yet we're asked to trust the state government. Secondly, there's no account for turning right onto Trayland Road. Often, traffic backs right up from the turn-off onto Trayland. And do you think most drivers just wait at the traffic light? They just go cut right through residential streets. And do you think waiting in traffic, do they care how fast they drive? No. It's important to note that these streets are on the Safe Routes to School program. So council studied it. It's about time they start implementing it. Council have got little regard or little knowledge of induced demand. The more we encourage cars, the more it's going to lead to more cars. Evidence-based research shows that people that walk and cycle more are more likely to spend and shop locally. They also spend more. So at this stage, we just keep encouraging more cars. We have recently spent $1.5 million on a car park in Bayswater. Okay, I'd just like to quickly conclude. Mill Street and William Street are getting this traffic calming, restricted traffic calming devices on the right-hand side, on the east side, sorry, of Bayswater. I'm just asking for the same thing on the west side. So just a very similar treatment that Mill and William Street are getting, because they realise that there will be increased rat running on these streets too.
Thank you. Kate Bowker, would you like to?
Kate Bowker, Bayswater. So I live in this area, and as Matt said, we've recently had the Electors installation of the raised platforms. And on the first day that the street was opened, I rode a different route to pick up the kids from school so I could see how these bumps were going to impact me riding on the street. And on the very first day of the new bumps in place, I saw my very first rat runner, which I shared the information with my neighbours, who sped up so fast to the traffic calming, then had to brake suddenly, go over one on an angle, sped up to the next one. So it doesn't stop, they don't stop rat running. They also drive, like this person was clearly frustrated because they didn't know that these installations had gone in. So they were speeding in between them, definitely going in excess of the 50k limit. And the design of the roads encourage people to rat run. We've got nice, sweeping, wide, straight roads. And when the signalised crossing goes in, no one is going to go through two sets of traffic lights. It's not going to happen. They are going to cut through the suburb.
Thank you very much. I'll ask if anyone wishes to speak against the motion. Anyone wish to speak for the motion? Georgina?
Georgina Care Bedford. I'd just like to say that I first met Matt in 2023 and Trail and Road residents have been complaining of excessive speed and rat running for long before then. This is an ongoing issue that so far hasn't been resolved, and yes, the Electors treatments are a step in the right direction, as Matt said, but this signalised intersection is going to have other impacts. If you ask me, Google Maps and Uber have a lot to answer for, because whereas 20 years ago you'd look up your street directory and find out where to go, you now plug it into Google Maps, which generally would tell you to avoid signalised intersections. Therefore, two signalised intersections is going to see an increase in this problem, which residents have already been putting up with many years. So any treatment that can help alleviate that, I think we need to support.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? If not, I will. Oh, please come forward. You need
come forward just to make a comment.
You can come forward, but you need to come to the microphone.
Simply a comment. One of the best forms of traffic calming recognised is shadows on streets from street trees, birch trees. So the streets that we have with some of these problems may also be void of birch trees. So that's worth looking at as well. Yep.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? Quick comment.
Speaking from experience, 20 years it took us to get street calming in Slade Street, Bayswater. Petitions was enduring. There are so many creative traffic calming devices, patterns, provisions out there. City Bayswater just needs to get all the information out there and be creative.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? If not, I'll go to you to close if you wish to add anything. You don't need to.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, Council have recently said that it's impossible to know where these people are coming from. A lot of them are coming from the city of Belmont and they're driving through school zones, not the main road.
I'm now going to put this motion to the vote, so please remember to keep your hands up until I've asked you to put them down so that we can count. All those in favour of the motion, please raise your hand. Thank you very much. All those against, please raise your hand. That is carried. Thank you. May I please call, do we have? Okay, if you want to, no, do it now. Yeah.
My name is Matthew Morgan from Bayswater. For the council to consider safe road improvements into any new road resurfacing, such as narrow intersection treatments for pedestrians, segregated bicycle lanes, and trees to calm traffic.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Georgina, go ahead.
Roads only have a 30-year life, not much longer than that. And basically, every time a road is resurfaced, new safe designs are incorporated. If you go to Susan Street in Mainlands, that's a school zone. It's a dangerous street. It's been recently resurfaced. There's a very wide intersection that doubles the space to cross the road and basically means vehicles can just go flat out around the corner without slowing down. This was recently resurfaced and it was resurfaced exactly how it is now. Nothing's changed. The cost is minimal to redesign these roads if they are being resurfaced. Not only that, the curb on Susan Street was ripped up. So if you think they're going to rip up the curve and just put it exactly where it was, that to me just does not make sense. So I believe that council need to incorporate these new standards into our road design, whether or not that's about liaising or just putting in extra design procedures. At the very least, must be considered.
Thank you. Georgina, would you like to speak to it?
I'd just like to say, if you do it right, you can do it once, or you can do it wrong, and you can do it again in 5 years. So we have Australian road guidelines that show us what is now best practice, and we should be doing that. It will save us money in the long term, and it will save lives.
Thank you. Would anyone like to speak against the motion? Anyone wish to speak for? Branka?
Great motion. I'm wondering why no one brought it up years ago. Just doing the same old just doesn't make us advance anywhere. It just keeps us conservative. And do we want to stay conservative as a city? I don't think so. It's time that we got creative.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Go ahead.
Being a previous bus driver and truck driver, trying to deliver goods, and the parcel delivery prospect going out now is ever increasing. You have larger trucks delivering parcels to houses. Start planting trees and start narrowing roads, and all you're going to do is get trucks, as they do now, trying to get around cars that are parked on the side of the road. They're going to run over everything and damage everything and make it a hazard for everyone else trying to get around the neighbourhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak for Kate?
Kate Bowker, Bayswater. I fully support this motion. International best practice is you don't continue doing the same thing. You're meant to uplift your assets to be in line with current standards. In terms of impact to trucks and delivery drivers, I think we can look to many international cities, including London, where I worked for Transport for London, and you can choose appropriate vehicles to match the roads and the streets you have. And we are talking about residential streets. So this is places where people live and people go to school. This is not commercial, light industrial areas. These are our local streets where we have a right to not be in cars and to use our streets.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? wish to speak for?
Electors from Bayswater. I think what we're hearing from Matthew and from all the other people here is that the era of designing suburban residential streets for ease of car access is long over.
Anyone wish to speak against? No, I'm going to go. Do you wish to close?
Yeah, I'd just like to say Helsinki recently had 0 road deaths last year. So we've got to try and aspire to these new standards. The streets are a lot more vibrant and local businesses do a lot more better.
Thank you. I'll now put this to the vote. All those in favour? Please keep your hands up. Thank you. All those against? That is carried. Okay. Can I please call Julia Doyle?
Good evening, everyone. Julia's asked me to read her motion on her behalf, which is that council give consideration to installing disabled parking at Riverside Gardens enclosed dog exercise area.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconded. Sorry, I don't know your name.
Helen Johnston.
Sorry?
Helen Johnston.
Helen Johnston. Thank you. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor, councillors and electors. My name is Julia Doyle and I'm here tonight to respectfully request that the City consider installing a disabled parking bay closer to the small dog exercise enclosure at Riverside Gardens in Bayswater. Riverside Gardens is one of our community's most loved open spaces. It's a place where people of all ages and abilities come together to walk, exercise, socialise and connect. The small dog enclosure in particular is a fantastic facility. It allows owners of smaller or more timid dogs to exercise them safely and confidently. However, for residents with mobility impairments, accessing that enclosure can be challenging. The distance from the nearest accessible parking space to the small dog area is significant, especially for those who use wheelchairs, walkers, or who experience chronic pain or fatigue. Walking distance is also through an off-lead area that often has many large dogs enjoying the park, as they have every right to do, but it means that those of us who are less steady on our feet must be on constant high alert and at risk of being bowled over. A fall can have devastating consequences. What may be a short stroll for many can be a significant barrier for others. Accessible infrastructure is not simply a convenience, it is about equity and inclusion. Providing a disabled parking bay closer to the small dog enclosure would ensure that residents with disabilities can enjoy the park in the same way as everyone else. It would also align with the City's broader commitment to accessibility, community wellbeing and inclusive public spaces. This is a modest, practical improvement that would make a meaningful difference to a small but important group of our community members. It sends a clear message that Bayswater values participation for all. I ask the Council to investigate the feasibility of installing an accessible parking bay in closer proximity to the small dog exercise enclosure and to prioritise this upgrade in upcoming works. Thank you for your time and consideration, and thank you, Councillor Ostaszewski, for taking the time to meet with me on site to discuss my concern.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Helen, would you like to speak to it?
I certainly would. Helen Johnston, Bayswater. I also exercise my mad caboodle at the small dog park. Love it. And I meet Julia there every day. We tag so that I can run shotgun for her for the big dogs because they're unfriendly. They're friendly, but they rush up to Julia's dog who reacts, and you can see how unsteady she is on the feet, and so the scared of falling is, so you can say, I'm going, three dogs coming. She's got to grab a tree or grab me, or I grab her dog. So it would really make a huge difference if we could just have a couple of disabled bays, right? And there's room there to put it in so that I don't have to make sure I'm going to the park at the same time, although I love her company. But to make it safer, you know, so I would appreciate it if you could do it. I'm happy to walk 100 metres, let the people who need help get to the dog park. And I think it would encourage a few more to bring their dogs to the dog park if they didn't have to walk so far. But I'd also just like to say thank you for the dog park. My Rosie loves it. It's been beautifully maintained, and so thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll ask if anyone wishes to speak against the motion. Anyone wish to speak for? If not, I'm going to put it straight to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? No one. That is carried.
Yeah, well done.
Okay, can I please call Peter Oliver?
Again, Peter Oliver. My motion that the council direct the chief executive officer to urgently and comprehensively prune and the trees located within Newington Reserve along Fleming Close to Bell Court frontage, cutting all overhanging branches back to the park property boundary defined by the wooden bollards, so as to remove encroachment over the entire verge area and roadway, to remove the ongoing risk created by dangerous gum nuts, branches and associated debris, so that there is a safe passageway for movement in this area by pedestrians, cyclists and motorists.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Janice? Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, the reason for this is 80% of the people in our area are 60 plus years of age. Since fully retiring in July last year, my wife and I both try to get out and do walks every day, but at times, nearly 2 or 3 times a week, you cannot get through the roadway, which is the only access way that we have, because the verges are not kept by the rental properties that are in the area, and also some people who don't look after their verges. And we cannot get out of our street because of the amount of gum nuts that have been dislodged in the trees by the parrots and dead branches that have just recently been removed. And they still, when it rains, the gum nuts and the trees get that heavy that when the rubbish trucks and the moving vans come in to deliveries, because a lot of people work from home now and they get a lot of deliveries delivered to home. One person in our street works for the shopping centres and they get a lot of packages delivered because they go and assemble things for products in the shopping centres. The amount of trucks has increased also. We can't get out because just the amount of gum nuts on the road and the verge. And so it's just a health hazard daily for us. We cannot walk, we cannot get out. We have to drive. Even our daughter comes down, she says, want to go to the park, we have to get in the car and drive to the Swanshaw areas to get to a park that we can actually enjoy and play in, because we just can't get into Newington Reserve. Park it shit anyway. We won't go there, but we did. So.
Thank you. Janice, would you like to speak?
Well, them at Fleming Close, Morley. Well, exactly what Peter said. It's a real hazard, all these gum nuts. And it's easy to roll your ankle, anything. I mean, I go for a walk most days too, and I totally avoid the park. And I go up to Harbour Park, which is a kilometre away, because that's far more walking, and it actually has a path as well. So exactly what Peter said. It's a real hazard.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? Anyone wish to speak for? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I don't know your name.
Maureen.
Maureen.
This is Maureen Oliver in Morley. We also want to bring up the condition of this park has been ongoing for several years, not only about the gum nuts, but actually fallen branches. Some of them are quite close to the play area. And we're not talking small, we're talking huge. So no one's looking after it. We've also had another tree on the other side of the park that had to be sectioned off for several months for someone to cut them back. Obviously, there was a major issue. So to be honest, the whole park area is actually a health hazard, a danger to both children and anyone who walks in there. And I think it's an urgent request that this park be seen to for everybody's sake before someone gets really badly hurt. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone wish to speak against? No. So did you wish to close at all? No. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? That is carried. Thank you. Okay, we now go to Ruth Marshall.
So my motion is that council install the following at Allen Hill Park to access the bus stop, better lighting to discourage antisocial behaviour, and a security camera to discourage the antisocial behaviour at the park.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder? Sorry, I don't know your name.
Kendall? Rhonda Kendall?
Rhonda Kendall. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. So ironically, our park is not far away from your park. It's just around the corner. The council has done a lot of work in recent times and gotten a lot of the dead trees. But I think the issue that I have is that I live in the city, I'm trying to be more sustainable with the Metronet system that we now have in Morley, catch the bus to the train station and then go to work. And I did try it the other day by walking across the park, and I found it very difficult because it's got a lot of trees and honky nuts, and there's just no path. And now that we've got this great service, it's like, well, I can't use it better. I had an operation last year, so both of my hips, I only a few weeks ago stopped walking with a cane, so I can only imagine anybody that wanted to even push a pram or even go that couldn't walk very well, they would find it very difficult. So we have been meeting with our local councillors, and I just thought, what's the next step? So I know that there are plans to do some things, but I thought I'll come along tonight.
Thank you very much. Rhonda, would you like to speak? No? Would anyone like to speak against the motion?
Just a question, can I ask the slide to clarify?
Just one moment. I don't want to open up to questioning, so no, sorry.
I will.
You wish to speak?
Rhonda Kendall, Morley. There is people
meeting at the end of our street. I mean, we're in Beam Court that actually leads on to Allen Hill Park, and people are meeting and actually doing drug deals. It's been going on for a long time. We've lived there for over 20 years, and it's been happening. We've had meetings to try and do something about it, try and stop them. That's why we put in like maybe a security camera to try and deter people from meeting at the end of our street for the drug deal. It's opposite that deli in Fitzroy Road, you know, the dodgy deli. That's where they do the drug deals. And even having lighting in the park as well at night for people to walk through from the bus station. I like going and watching the cricket at the Optus Stadium. So if I can go by train, by bus and then train, but to get home after dark, it's a bit dark to go through that park, and we're not getting any younger. So it's a lovely area.
And that mulch
Thank you very much.
That mulch most of the park.
Anyone wish to speak against? If not, I'll put this straight to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? That is carried. Okay. David Dyke.
David Dyke, Maylands. The Council and the City of Bayswater formally endorse and actively participate in the 16 Days in WA campaign, committing to meaningful action and investment to raise awareness, leading to eliminate domestic and sexual violence in our community.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Darren Peterson. Go ahead, David.
The campaign's aim is the elimination of violence against women and girls. It runs from the 25th of November, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, through to the 10th of December, which is Human Rights Day each year. The campaign takes its inspiration from the global 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence. And the reason this matters is the problem is not going away. In Western Australia, police data has shown that reportedly family and domestic violence offences increased by 18% year on year in the 24-25 period, with over 42,000 incidents recorded. And advocates caution that this likely still underestimates the true scale due to underreporting. Some women just don't report it. Last year, I suggested the following items. This year, they need to happen again. Lighting up the Civic Centre, workshops with motivational speakers, social media posts, minimal cost, a 16-day icon in the email signature period for the City of Bayswater, no cost to the city and massive exposure. This needs to be for all of the 16 days. I commend City of Bayswater for organising a workshop with Lifeline. Only out of approximately 80 attended, it appeared I was the only one from City of Bayswater in attendance. We should also access the WA Government Resource Toolkit and consult the Alternative to Violence Project, WA. This campaign, led by the UN Secretary General and UN Women since 2008, aims to prevent and eliminate violence against women and girls around the world. To do this properly, I am requesting Council consider a budget allocation in the range of $60,000 to deliver a meaningful launch event, workshops, and a full 16 days activation. I also see federal funding is available and maybe some state funding, which could value add to the above ideas.
Thank you. Darren, would you like to speak? Would anyone like to speak against the motion? Anyone wish to speak for? I'll put it straight to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? That is carried.
Could I go to my second motion, please?
Yes.
I formally move that Council now progress the development and the implementation of a men's health plan consistent with the resolutions adopted at last year's AGM and reaffirmed by Council on the 22nd of August 2025. We seek the endorsement, commitment and practical support of councillors and council to advance this work for men's issues in partnership with Bayswater Blokes, ensuring meaningful outcomes for men's health within our community.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Darren Peterson.
Many men in the city of Bayswater are hurting for numerous different reasons. Some are bordering on being suicidal. And recently we had the murder in Bayswater. One man every day commits suicide in WA. I see men who are lost emotionally, homeless, jump to a bed wherever they can get one if somebody has a spare bed. As Darren Peterson is professionally running workshops on mental health because men are needing further direction, Lachlan Hall and myself linked up with Darren to form Bayswater Blokes. Our aim at Bayswater Blokes is we focus on men's mental health through engaging workshops, men's circles and barbecues, fostering a supportive and unique community for men. So we're providing men's mental health, educational workshops, why men need to talk. Men don't normally talk with each other. Women do it naturally. Relaxed barbecue down by the river and men's circles. Men's circles are about a safe space for men to share their feelings and seek support. We recently had one last night and the support that a couple of chaps wanted is incredible. With support and caring with Bayswater Blokes, I'm hoping we'll bring down domestic violence with encouraging men to reach out and work on their full potential. They can say anything in those circles and we will listen. I request City of Bayswater support in marketing. I also request in waiving costs of rooms for our activities at the Rise, such as the workshops. It's really needed. I'm also collaborating with Kai Fella Foundation, which used to run Tomorrow Man workshops. I request cost of workshop room be waived for that workshop. Thank you.
Thank you. Darren, do you wish to speak?
No, sorry, David said everything.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? those against? That is carried.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you everybody for listening.
I call Janice Zammit.
Jan Zammit, Fleming Close. Can the council direct the Chief Executive Officer to install a footpath around the internal perimeter of Newington Reserve and a dual-purpose drinking station for park users and their animals, with funding for both projects to be provided for in the 26-27 budget and completed in the same financial year?
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Maureen? You can talk to it now.
Sorry?
You can talk to your motion. If you want to say anything about it. You don't have to.
Well, it's all there and I think we've said it all, so I don't think I need to repeat.
Maureen, do you wish to speak on it? Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? That is carried. I call Chris Buswell.
Buswell Maylands. Essentially, the council implement cycling infrastructure on 8th and East Street in Maylands, and that this cycling infrastructure would connect the Riverside Path to the train station, which would make this project eligible for funding through WABN as it stands. I'm not going to accept it. Design should be completed as soon as possible to ensure that the 8th Avenue and Guildford Road intersection improvements can also fit with the cycleway that would be designed, allowing the council to avoid additional spending on improving those items later.
Do I have a seconder? Kate Bowker, go ahead.
All right, so I understand that that is a mouthful to start with. So basically, for local residents, if you want to get to Maylands Town Centre from Maylands, there is no cycleway that takes you there. There's the Riverside Path and there is the PSP that runs along the railway bay, but they don't connect in Maylands. They connect in the city, they connect Tonkin Highway. So if you want to cycle from your house in Maylands to the city centre, you would be riding along the streets. Now, 8th Avenue and East Street are quite narrow in sections. So as happened today on the way here, I held up a column of cars as I was cycling down 8th Avenue. I want to do that, but nowhere else to ride. So with suitable bike lanes on this road, it would improve the comfort and connectivity for Southward residents. And mentioned the roads are a bit narrow, not because of anything that's wrong with the roads. The curb width is just too slim. So widening curb width, adding the lane in, there's enough road reserve in that area that it could work. Essentially, these are already on the bike plan. All I'm suggesting is that we bring them up the priority order so that we can get in with the state government whilst the funding is there for bike network stuff that connects to train stations. Well, that's the priority of the state. Good Lord, I'm terrible at this speaking. Thank you.
Thank you. Kate, would you like to speak to it?
Yeah, I'm fully supportive of this motion. As Chris said, there's no safe connectivity at the moment. The other benefit of having bike paths on 8th Avenue and East Street is it would also enable people to safely get to the library and the Rise Centre. At the moment, it's quite hairy to get there, even though there's good bike parking, you can't really get there safely. And the RISE organises a number of activities and the library for children, so both during school holidays but also during school terms. So having safe infrastructure so kids can get there and participate in sports and the activities offered by the library is really vital, and this would help promote that.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? Please come forward. I don't know your name.
My name is Sandra Clift.
Sorry, was that Sandra?
Sandra, yes.
Yes.
I live in 11 Kenilworth Street. I have tried several years at the end to go from more or less from the river to our area, and I have driven to some of these areas too. I had to find out that our area, which is between Melton and New Reserve, hasn't been even included into the bike plan from the city in 2023. So I would like to support at least the start of an implementation. Thank you for listening.
Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? I'll put it straight to the vote. Or
I was just going to add one last.
You can add it.
So as it stands at the moment, it's currently more comfortable for me to leave City of Bayswater to do grocery shopping, to go to shops, and just to participate in life in general, because I'm lucky enough to live on the Riverside Path, and so I can just go into the city. But obviously, I kind of want to stay in rather than go to Highgate for the shops or to the CBD for cafes and, you know, shops and whatnot. So anyway.
Thank you. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour?
Can you put two hands up?
No, Russell. All good, thank you. All those against? That is carried. Georgina Kerr.
My motion is that the City of Bayswater A, explores grant opportunities for converting the disused former basketball courts on the corner of Salisbury and Catherine Street, Bedford, into a painted bike skills track, and B, allocates funds in the 2027-28 budget for completion of the project.
Do I have a seconder? Kate Balker, go ahead.
I did send her a couple of images, which I'm not sure if it's possible to put up, but it's not a big deal when you can work out what I'm talking about. So there is a parcel of land on the corner of Salisbury Street and Catherine Street in Bedford. I've clarified, thanks to the help of one of the councillors, that this is Crown land vested in the City of Bayswater and is not currently leased. This land previously held basketball courts, so we can, obviously I can't draw a straight line in red, but we can see that that's the area I'm talking about. It still has an asphalt surface, but it's significantly degraded. So the two adjoining basketball courts, which are blue, and you can kind of see there where it says basketball court, those were renovated and resurfaced relatively recently and are heavily used by local residents. The subject site is flat and even and connected to other community facilities. It's near St Peter's Primary School, Salisbury Childcare Centre and Mercy Childcare Centre, Grand Promenade Reserve, Bedford Bowls Club, the Filipino Club and a local shopping strip with an IGA. It's bordered by a cul-de-sac on one side, so it sees relatively little through traffic, and there is a 24/7 public toilet located on the other side of Grand Promenade Reserve, so it's very well connected. It is occasionally used by the Filipino Club for events and or overflow parking. Otherwise, it is underutilised land in a prime location. Parents with children will semi-regularly use it to teach bike skills due to its flat nature and lack of traffic. There aren't many grants available, for example, from the Department of Creative Industries and Sport and from the RAC to improve uptake of bike riding and activate underused community spaces. The location here would be an excellent location for a bike skills track. There is not a public bike skills track in the City of Bayswater. We have the Constable Care Facility, which you can hire and go visit, but it's not publicly open. And of course, we have the excellent pump track. The aim of this facility would not be to create another pump track, but to model a road environment on that flat surface so that children can learn the basics of bike riding, but also how to understand road signs and traffic signals so that when they are riding to school, and we've hopefully reduced some speed limits and calmed some traffic, they know what a give way sign means, what a stop sign means, what do I do when I'm crossing from the footpath onto the road. The track could be designed in a way that there would still be overflow parking available for events if that's required by the Filipino Club. Bedford doesn't have a town centre, really, and it's lacking a community hub. The provision of this facility, along with some other things that are in the works, like new padel courts at the Bowls Club, which I'm definitely determined I'm going to learn how to play padel, and perhaps a proposed community garden nearby. These would all work together to help activate Grand Prom Reserve and the surrounds as a community hub, and I think this facility would be a great contribution to that. So yeah, there's another image as well, which just shows there are many other local governments that we can look to for inspiration, but that's just one that's not far from us in Kandoola.
Thank you. Kate, would you like to speak to it? Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? I'll put it straight to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? That is carried. Eileen O'Rourke.
Aileen O'Rourke, Bayswater. Not trees this time. Okay, so my motion is that the council adopts a policy that the mayor's chain of office is a civic insignia that can be worn at civic and ceremonial functions representing the city, but the mayor's chain of office is not to be worn at ordinary or special council meetings or committee meetings unless the meeting has been formally designated by council as a ceremonial occasion.
For those who are wondering, these are the chains that she's referring to. Do I have a seconder? Regina Kerr. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll just put some basic principles first and then I'll talk through it. So council operates as a collective decision-making body under the Local Government Act. All councillors participate in meetings as equal elected representatives. Community members are encouraged to attend and participate in meetings through questions and deputations. Ordinary council meetings are deliberative forums rather than ceremonial events, and civic symbols should be reserved for formal representations, occasions. Okay, so I guess I must first declare an interest in this issue. I come from Irish heritage and have a very long personal and professional association with Noongar people. So that might sharpen my perception of these matters. So a rebel heritage. Let me begin by acknowledging that this motion is not about diminishing the office of the mayor. It's about ensuring that our symbols and practices reflect the values of community in contemporary Australia. The ceremonial chain of office has its origins in British civic traditions and likely dating back to the 14th century, when the mayor was responsible for maintaining law and order in the community. So a definite symbol of authority over others. It's a symbol inherited from colonial systems of government that were transplanted into Australia during a period that also saw the dispossession and exclusion of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. As a nation and as local governments, we are increasingly engaging in meaningful conversations, well, hopefully we are, about reconciliation, inclusion, and how our institutes can better reflect the full story of our country. We cannot change the past, but we can consider carefully what we choose to symbolise in the present. So that's the first point about the history. Ordinary council meetings are about the routine business of governance, debating policy, allocating resources, and making decisions on behalf of our community. Each councillor is elected by the community. The mayor is entrusted with leadership, but is not elevated above their colleagues in status or authority. The wearing of a ceremonial chain in this context creates a visible hierarchy that does not reflect the democratic principles of equal representation. In a contemporary, diverse and multicultural community, symbolism matters. What we wear and display sends messages about power, accessibility and identity. And the third part of this, ordinary council meetings are forums where community members may ask questions and present deputations. Having done quite a few deputations and asked questions, it's a fairly frightening thing to do, as is this. Many residents expect their representations to be approachable and grounded, not elevated by regalia that can appear outdated or disconnected from modern civic life. Importantly, this motion does not propose abolishing traditions altogether. The ceremonial chains can and should retain its place in citizenship ceremonies, civic commemorations, official external engagements and significant ceremonial occasions. But for the ordinary meetings, removing ceremonial regalia is a simple step that signals inclusivity, equality and contemporary leadership. This is a modest but meaningful step. It does not erase history, it simply ensures that our everyday practices align with the inclusive, democratic and modern values we publicly affirm.
Thank you. Georgina, would you like to speak?
So I guess just to give a little bit of context as to why I'm supporting this motion, two reasons. We do see, I had a little look into the traditions of the Houses of Parliament, state and federal, around Australia, and noted that it is becoming less and less common for the speakers of the House or the presidents of the upper house to wear their full regalia as well. So I think it is a sign of more contemporary thinking. The other reason is I work with traumatised people. I work in a community legal centre, and so I work with lawyers. I'm not a lawyer for my sins, but one of the policies that we abide by is that in day-to-day work, the lawyers are asked not to dress up too much. Obviously, we want to look neat and tidy, but one of the reasons is that a lot of the people that are coming to those lawyers to seek advice and coming to our service have experienced negative things from authority. So whether that's because they're First Nations people, they're perhaps victims of police violence or victims of workplace violence where somebody who had authority over them mistreated them. That sort of inequality is made apparent by dress. But on the flip side, obviously, if the lawyers are representing their clients in court, that's the equivalent of a ceremonial occasion. They dress up, they wear their bling. They don't wear wigs in this context usually, but we know that lawyers do in court. So I think there's some precedence for that division, I suppose, for treating a ceremonial occasion differently from a governance or a decision-making forum.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? Anyone wish to speak for? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Check on that one. Can we retake that count? So
Just against.
all those against, if you can please raise up your hands. It's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wendy Garstone.
Wendy Garstone, Maylands. My motion is that the City of Bayswater undertakes to protect existing established trees located on private land. Model planning policy for tree retention in full. And also liaising with the West Australian Planning Commission regarding providing incentives to support tree retention.
Do I have a seconder? Who's going to give him? Lazar. Okay, go ahead.
So the reason for this motion is about canopy, and because the level recognised by experts for a healthy and resilient community is a canopy coverage of 30%. And the city, when data was last taken in 2024, had a coverage of 14%. Now, the city is working to bring this up to 20% by 2035, and full credit to city officers who have worked hard on tree canopy reform in the last decade. Last year, this council adopted a limited version of the Walga tree retention policy. And while a small step forward, only trees on development sites will be protected. Only if trees are still present at the time of submitting a development application. So developers can still legally remove a mature tree years before a development proposal is submitted. Currently, other owners can still legally remove a mature tree that they find, say, hard to maintain or dislike without any discussion taking place. As I mentioned in my question earlier, last year the state government announced a tree canopy target for all urban areas in the Perth Peel area of 30% by 2040. So this, of course, is great news. And also there has been more progress regarding tree canopy reform in Western Australia in the last year. And I'll just go through these changes very quickly. Firstly, a growing number of WA councils have adopted the Wilder tree retention policy in full, that tree protection on private land can coexist with development. Secondly, the legal decision last year in the Zorsey, the Town of Cambridge decision at the State Administrative Tribunal, confirmed that the removal of a mature tree is considered development, and therefore approvals through a local planning policy should be required. The last change I want to mention is that a month ago the state government released a long-awaited for urban greening strategy and action plan. And this is to outline how tree canopy could be improved. So these are all big steps forward, but unfortunately the state government has not chosen to protect the existing trees on private land that comprise the majority of the urban forest in our suburbs.
Wendy, you need to conclude. You're over the limit.
Okay, I will jump to the conclusion. I think you get the point of what I'm saying. More than 50% of the land in this city is privately owned. Can we continue to accept high tree losses within this largest land ownership group?
Thank you. Isaiah? You wish to speak to it?
No, that's all fairly clear. Thank you.
Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? That is carried. Monica Main.
My name is Monica Main. Do I have to say where I'm from?
Yes, just your suburb.
Bayswater. Good evening. My name is Monica Main and I'm representing the Bayswater Historical Society and the Maylands Historical and Peninsula Association. Oh, my motion, sorry.
Yeah.
That the council approves the employment of a history and heritage officer for the city of Bayswater.
Do I have a seconder? So, go ahead, Monica.
I don't. You'll hear this again. Good evening. My name is Monica Main still, and I'm representing the Bayswater Historical Society and Maylands Historical and Peninsula Association. My motion is that the council approves the employment of a history and heritage officer for the city of Bayswater. I'm the current chair of the Bayswater Historical Society and I speak on behalf of our members and for the members of other major historical society in Bayswater, the Maylands Historical and Peninsula Association. These two not-for-profit societies are volunteer-run heritage groups in the city who currently take care of heritage collections, the museum at Halliday House in Bayswater, the research centre and displays at the old police station in Maylands, and the digitisation of all records collected and making these available to you, the community. The history in these stories and objects tell of and celebrate the diversity of people and cultures that have made our city what it is today. In the late 1970s and 1980s, across the metropolitan area, there was an increase in volunteer-run historical societies leading up to WA's 150th in 79 and the National Bicentenary in 88. People started to wonder where they came from. This is when both of our local historical societies were established in the early 1990s, and over the last 30 years, we've established a large collection of artefacts and oral and urban histories. As such, both societies are custodians of an extraordinary amount of history about the city, including Maylands, Bayswater, Morley, Miranda, Embleton, Bedford, and its residents. Unlike other local community groups, our unpaid volunteer work is for the city. The work we do is for the broader community and not just for the members of each organisation. History is not necessarily a consideration of a time long ago, but also events that have happened recently. History started yesterday. In the last 5 years, our city has gone through enormous changes, which continue to be ongoing, including the new Bayswater and Morley train station and the redevelopment of Morley Galleria. These need to be properly documented. Over the years, many local historical societies and their collections have been taken over by their local councils, who could see the benefit of these collections being preserved, expanded and shared in a systematic and coherent way with the broader community. For example, our neighbours in Belmont, Stirling and Cambridge, and indeed further afield in Guildford, Coburn and Wanneroo are just a few of the many councils who have volunteer-run historical societies working in tandem with council staff who assist the groups to connect with the communities. It's heartening to see in the City of Bayswater's new strategic plan that the city has a foundation for the future that includes a vision of a sustainable city committed to preserving our environment and heritage, a vision where we can enhance our local identity through social and arts programs and events that celebrate our diverse cultures, history and heritage, and a vision to create livable neighbourhoods and centres that include consideration of our built heritage. We want the city to fulfil these objectives in the 2025 strategic plan. However, the City of Bayswater has no officer on staff whose job is dedicated to history and heritage.
Monica, I know you're speaking fast, but...
I know, I've just got one more. Yeah. We think it's time. Sorry, I was told on the phone it was 5 minutes. I'm really sorry. I'm not trying to, sorry. We think it's time that the council looks to the future to preserve the past and allocate staff time to assist and support the work that these two volunteer groups do for everyone. We must future-proof our collections as heritage matters to many in our local community. Thank you.
Thank you. Sue, would you like to speak?
I too thought it was 5 minutes, so she's got less than me, though. I can cut some out. My name is Sue Cundale, and I'm from Maylands, and I'm the secretary of the Maylands Historical and Peninsular Association. Here in Bayswater, the city of Bayswater, both us and the Bayswater Historical Society are working really hard to preserve and share our local history. We have a digital interactive map at the Maylands Historical, the old police station on Guildford Road, where we've actually already received 17,000 views on that map. And that map contains information on the houses in Maylands, businesses in Maylands, heritage buildings in Maylands. Someone out there is interested in this if we've had 17,000 views. And our talks, our open days and our community events are all well attended, and our interaction with the community is extremely active. But volunteer passion can only take us so far. And recently, a small group of volunteers from both of our historical societies visited a number of local museums and history centres in councils similar in age and demographics to the city of Bayswater. What we discovered was rather interesting, and I won't go through them all, but for instance, the city of Belmont has a state-of-the-art museum and the equivalent of 5 full-time officers. The city of Stirling operates its own museum, employs 4 full-time staff, and still supports a community historical society. The town of Bassendean employs 2 full-time staff and partners with the Museum of Perth to manage the Pensioner Guard precinct. The town of Vincent has a local history centre at the Vincent Library. I could go on, there's more examples. The city of Bayswater does not yet have any manpower assigned to this area and relies solely on volunteers to collect this information. We feel that a history and heritage officer would transform what is possible. They would work closely with us as historical societies to research, interpret and champion the city's history, ensuring it is understood, valued and embedded in how our city grows and evolves. They would support and promote the volunteering and community involvement, publicise our open days, talks and exhibitions, collaborate with local Indigenous groups to help record and preserve Aboriginal history, highlight the uniqueness of the city of Bayswater through the exhibitions, school programmes, pop-up displays and partnerships. The city of Bayswater has an extraordinary heritage. I came to the citizenship ceremony and I think it was 173 different nationalities we have within the city of Bayswater. We need to collect the information about this through the people, the stories, and also the built form. Heritage, it's not a burden, it's an asset. It attracts visitors. I've only got 2 sentences. It attracts visitors, strengthens community identity, and enriches the places we call home. We hope that everyone here tonight recognise it is time for our city consider how it can better support our 2 volunteer historical societies by creating this vital position. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour?
Try.
I can see. Thank you. All those against? That is carried. Okay. We need 2 hands. George Cosentino.
Yes, I'll be very brief. My name's George Costantino from Bayswater, and the motion that I'm putting forward is simplistic and logical when thought. We ask that council please install a park sign at 10 Costantino Place in Bayswater, which is the site of a public reserve. That's it.
Do I have a seconder? I don't know your name, sorry.
It's clear.
Okay, go ahead.
That's it.
Oh, you don't wish to speak to it?
A sign, needs a sign.
Vince, would you like to speak to it? No? Okay.
I can elaborate if you want, but...
No, I'm sure everyone's happy. It's up to you, George. Do you wish to?
Oh, well, it's
up to you.
Fairly simplistic. The signage, once installed, will assist emergency services, inform the public and local community, and update mapping and locational aids. It will also alleviate the misconception by some people who fail to enter upon the reserve thinking it to be private property. It's not. It's got trees, fruit trees. We've reticulated it. It's beautiful. We just need a sign.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Yeah, done.
Thank you.
No, keep it. We have to count.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. George?
Wow. It's the best I can do.
Got it. Thank you. All those against? That is carried.
That's it.
Thank you. George Wilkinson.
Good evening, I'm George Wilkinson, I'm from Morley. My motion is that council rename Bruin Avenue to Beaufort Street.
Do I have a seconder? Sorry, I don't know your name. My name is Bedelia. Bedelia? Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, sure. I'd like to introduce a motion to extend the Beaufort Street naming eastward through to Charlie's in Morley, which would involve renaming Bruin Avenue as part of a continuous Beaufort Street corridor. This proposal is about clarity, identity, and strengthening one of the most important urban corridors in our region. Beaufort Street is already a well-known legible spine that connects activity centers, local businesses, and communities across multiple LGAs, or local government areas. Extending the name through to Charlie's would create a single continuous corridor that is easier for residents, visitors, and businesses to understand and navigate. There's also a strong economic and placemaking rationale. A continuous Beaufort Street identity would reinforce the corridor as a major destination, support local traders, and help unify planning, investment, and branding efforts across the length of the street. Instead of a fragmented series of names, we would be presenting a single recognizable urban corridor. I recognize that street name changes should not be taken lightly, and community consultation would be an important part of the process. This motion is about initiating that conversation and exploring the feasibility and benefits of creating a continuous Beaufort Street connection. In short, this is a practical step toward better legibility, stronger identity, and more coordinated development along one of our key corridors. In addition, I think it would be a big help to Morley, the city center of Morley. I think it would really help us to connect with some of the action happening down the road.
Thank you. Delia, would you like to speak? Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for?
I just asked, who was Beaufort Street named after?
I don't have that information. That's all.
Then what's the
Anyone
important?
wish to speak? Anyone wish to? Okay, I've lost where I've gone. Anyone wish to speak for? If not, I'll put it straight to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Thank you. All those against? That That is carried. Thank you. Branko Radanovic.
Bayswater. Residential bird tree planting and existing underground power. The council approves a mandate to prioritise program to ensure that at least one suitable street tree is planted on every residential verge where underground power exists, subject to site suitability.
Do I have a seconder? Eileen O'Rourke, go ahead.
Follows on from my question as to how much canopy coverage we get from birch trees, existing birch trees, and it's virtually nil as they get cut back to the same size every year. What we really do need to focus on are all the verges out there that have got underground power and are treeless. I question that. I can't understand why. It hasn't been addressed 2 decades ago when underground power did go in, probably in Morgan mainly. I'm rather envious of those areas. There's a lot in Bayswater don't have, where I live, don't have underground power. We have to pay towards having underground power, and that's another issue. But as there are so many verges out there, streets without trees, but they've got underground power, and I think that it is irresponsible not to act on it and prioritise the tree planting on the verges in the season at least, but to mandate, to make this a mandate. There's no opting out saying I don't want the tree on my verge. No, a continuous shade area for the future of the next generation. It's not for me, it's for the next generation 20 years down the track, which will get full benefit of the trees that don't need pruning. They'll get under pruned for as necessary, but the canopy will go to the sky and create wonderful shade and just assist our climate crisis that we're in.
Thank you. Eileen.
Eileen O'Rourke, I just want to reiterate, I think we really need to plan for the future. We need to plan for our children and our grandchildren. And at a practical level, if we are to reach a 30% target, we need to be doing something about this. And it's public land. Trees are a common good. And I just think that we just have to begin planting as many trees as possible. And this is one way in which we can do that.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against?
What I want to say is, due to all the hassles we've had with the trees in the park and the fact that this is on public ground, which means we can't, the Shire plants it, we have to look after it, we have to deal with mess from it. I don't think it's fair. Surely, if they're going to plant it, then they have to look after it and keep it in control. I'm 70 and I cannot be cleaning up the mess from a Shire tree.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak for? Georgina?
I had an observation a couple of weeks ago on a day of similar temperature to today. First day back at school, I was riding my bike with my daughter up to school at Hillcrest. The chain snapped off my bike, which is a great start to term. So I had to walk my bike down to 99 Bikes down here and then walk home to Bedford from 99 Bikes and then later walk back to 99 Bikes to pick my bike up. It was sweltering. This was, I'd done some shopping in between, so this was maybe 10 a.m. And I don't drive, so I walk and I ride everywhere. The difference where there is shade is enormous. And I would really like everybody who thinks that we shouldn't have these verge trees to take a walk down Crew Street at 10 a.m. tomorrow. It's a great day. It's going to be 37. It's a concrete wasteland, and those trees are required for us to be able to safely walk around our streets without getting heat stroke.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? We'll go to you to close.
I can't add much more. I suppose a cost cutting for the council as well, not to have to prune trees that don't have overhead power lines. Nothing much more to add.
Thank you. I'll put this to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? That is carried. Kate Bowker.
Kate Bowker from Bayswater. My motion is that the City of Bayswater adopt the 2020 Stockholm Declaration on Road Safety and implement a 30-kilometre-hour safe speed trial in the Maylands Peninsula area, bounded by Garrett Road, Guildford Road to the edge of the city bounds.
Do I have a seconder? Matthew Morgan. Go ahead.
So for a bit of context for those who don't know me, my name is Kate. I've lived in the city for over 12 years now. I have 2 young children. I come from a car light family, so we have 1 car and we use bikes to get around. I'm also the co-leader of the Bayswater Bike Bus, which services 2 local primary schools. And what I've noticed definitely since having children is that our local streets are not safe to get around. Now, in February 2020, there was the Stockholm Declaration on Road Safety. So this was part of the UN, so member states, Australia is one of those member states, resolved to address speed management as a key road safety intervention. The declaration says, amongst other things, that strengthening law enforcement to prevent speeding and mandate a maximum road travel speed of 30 kilometres an hour as appropriate in areas where vulnerable road users and vehicles mix in a frequent and planned manner, aka our local streets where we live and play and there's parks and kids need to go to school and people catch buses and go to libraries. The declaration outlined that efforts to reduce speed will have many beneficial impacts on air quality, climate change, and is vital to reduce road traffic deaths and injuries. The Stockholm Declaration was based on low speed streets on studies from recent decades in many places in the world, including Austria, London in the UK, New York in the US, and Toronto in Canada. Evidence clearly shows that 30 kilometres an hour, where people mix with traffic, not only saves lives, it also promotes walking, cycling, and a move towards zero carbon mobility. There's been other recent examples. So the entire country of Wales reduced their speed limit to 20 miles an hour, which is equivalent to 30 miles an hour. There were some initial concerns from constituents, which have now been resolved because the benefits have significantly outstripped what they initially thought they were going to get. One of which, Wales now has the cheapest car insurance in Europe because there are no more car crashes because everyone is travelling at slower speeds on local roads. In Australia, 1,200 people die a year on our roads. Almost 4,000 people are hospitalised each year from road accidents. In the suburbs of Fitzroy and Collingwood in Victoria, they've implemented 30 kilometres an hour on their local streets.
Okay, can you please conclude?
Yep, this is my last point. So they've done a 12-month analysis following their speed reduction. They've seen the number of crashes down from 40 to 33, which is a reduction of 17.5%. But more critically, the serious injuries went from 13 to 5. So that's a 62% drop. So 62% fewer people have been hurt in just 1 year. Reducing speed limits is not about being anti-motorists. I drive a car.
Okay.
It's not about banning cars or the ability to drive. It's a win-win-win for street users, business, motorists, and even major motoring groups, including the RAC, support 30 kilometres an hour on local streets.
Thank you. Matthew, do you wish to speak?
Matthew Bayswater. Yeah, it's important to note that this is a trial, so it's important to be open-minded about this and at least assess it and look at the results.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? Anyone wish to speak for?
Flexible Makelands, unexpected that I would. But the interesting thing about 30 kilometre per hour speed limits in residential areas, such as this one, is that when you reduce from 50 to 30, the main concern is that it's going to take forever to drive everywhere. The real impact tends to be either negligible or in sub 30-second range. And that is been tested and researched in Melbourne. They've actually got a little, it's the cheesiest infographic video you've ever seen in your life about what the difference between the two speeds are and the impact on your travel times. So just as one of the biggest concerns people tend to have about 30 kilometre drops, that is been researched. It's quite negligible. Anyway, I'll be out.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? No, I'll put this to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? That is carried.
Back. Okay, Bayswater. My next motion is that the City of Bayswater further foster community placemaking by creating a community funding program accessible, I didn't proofread this, accessible by community members for use for play streets or street parties using grants available through, for example, the Town of Victoria Park Council Street Meet and Grants and the Marybank Council Play Streets Street Parties Grants as a basis for setting up this grant.
I have a seconder. Georgina.
Yeah, so currently the city offers a number of placemaking grants, but they're not really available for neighbourhood-based events such as setting up a play street or a street party. So a play street is, you know, kind of like one-off events where you open the street for people to play on the street. These grants are common in other local governments in WA and Australia, and having grants such as this on offer for the City of Bayswater residents will foster stronger neighbourhoods and build greater community.
Georgina, anyone wish to speak against this motion? Anyone wish to speak for? I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Everyone against? That is carried. Oh, sorry. That is carried. You have another one?
Yeah. Sorry, I have two more. They're actually I should have put them together because they're related. Kate Barker, Bayswater, so that the City of Bayswater incorporate the Dark Sky International policy in existing city codes or bylaws, I wasn't sure of the right language there, with the goal to mitigate light pollution and the misuses of artificial light at night.
I have seconder. Eileen O'Rourke.
So light pollution disrupts wildlife, impacts human beings, it wastes money and electricity, contributes to climate change and blocks our view of the universe. Dark Sky International is a group of people, there's chapters all around the world, and they've created free policy templates for lawmakers, municipal councils and community advocates to assist in drafting local codes that support responsible outdoor nighttime lighting. The templates are grounded in the 5 principles of responsible outdoor lighting at night, and they were written in collaboration with industry professionals, lighting designers, environmental ecologists, and city planners. And the templates use the appropriate terminology. They're very flexible in structure to align with different LGA's legislative standards and making them really easy to enact and incorporate in existing codes.
Eileen, anything? No? Anyone wish to speak against?
Can I ask a question?
No, we're not asking questions. And the reason I'm doing that, just to be clear, is people come up here and they haven't necessarily been before. I know that Kate is experienced at this. She might be comfortable, but not everyone's comfortable. So I don't want to leave that open. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? Yeah. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? That is carried. Thank you. Do you have another one?
One more. It should have been a limb of that one. It's the last time we're here. I'm Kate Barker from Bayswater. So my motion is that the City of Bayswater audit lighting at parks with natural bush to mitigate light pollution at these parks and misuses of artificial light at night, and take actions to align lighting with the Dark Sky International principles.
Do I have a seconder? Matthew Morgan.
Yeah, so this is in line with my previous motion, but basically, so we're really lucky in the City of Bayswater. We've got lots of areas of really important native bushland. I myself, so I live in the Bayswater Maylands Nook, so I use the parklands along the river quite often. And when riding along the bike path that runs between Malagororama, Barton Park and the City of Vincent parklands there, we're incredibly lucky. So that area of bush is home to quenders, it is home to owls and many other wildlife. But this path area has a mixture of warm lights, blue lights, and all different types of lights, like some that just light up the footpath, but an awful lot of these lights light up the path and the surrounding bushland. And this would be a really perfect area where we could implement the principles of dark sky friendly lighting so that we're still making the path completely usable for everyone, but we're protecting the bushland and the wildlife that are using that bushland so that they can still thrive.
Matthew, do you wish to speak to it?
Matthew Morgan. I'd just like to say I am a licensed electrician, and sometimes, well, throughout my work, I have routinely had to change lights, whether or not it's actually the globes or the fittings. That could be every 2 years, sometimes it's 1 year. I've done it for libraries, I've done it for streets. But the thing is, it's routine. So this is more so just changing the standards to adapt it, because either way the work needs to get done. This is just a matter of just changing the standards. It's not a massive capital outlay. And yeah, I think, yeah, that's everything.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? That is carried. Helen Johnstone.
My motion is that we ask the council to install some effective shade at the Riverside Gardens Dog Park. We've done a lot of areas to it. We do have a small shade, but unfortunately it's small, orientated in the incorrect way. It goes north-south, not east-west, and so the majority of the day, particularly in the summer, there's a slither of shade that's outside the dog park. They've put in 2 trees.
Sorry, we need a seconder.
Oh, sorry.
Bedelia? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm not used to this. So the Riverside Gardens is well loved, heavily used community space every morning and every evening. Locals and even people from outside the council exercise their dogs, and it's quite a social thing and routine. And so it's one of the most consistently used open spaces in the area. While there's currently this shade structure within the enclosure, its size and placement provides limited practical protection for much of the day. Large sections of the enclosure are fully exposed to the sun. The existing tree canopy is not yet established enough to provide meaningful shade. They have, as part of I think it was probably part of the urban forest, which if you haven't been down there, have a look at, it is amazing. They put 2 trees in each of there's a large dog area and a small dog area. They put 2 trees in there, but I think it'll be at least 5 years before it provides any shade. So what we find is that when we're down there, the humans, or the fur babies' parents, stand and talk, and our dogs lie in our shadows, right, to try and get a bit of shade because they like the shade. So I'd like to see some shade go in, not a luxury upgrade, not a huge area, maybe a shade cloth and just a bit more shade that has shade in the park that we can stand under to be comfortable, and the dogs have got a bit of shade as well. I would like to thank the council for the wonderful job they've done for us down there at Riverside Gardens.
Thank you. Bedelia, do you wish to speak to it?
I totally agree with that. It needs more shade.
Okay. Please come forward.
What she said.
Okay.
Exactly. She being the cat's mother.
Anyone wish to speak against the motion? Anyone wish to speak for? I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? That is carried.
Thank you very much.
Helen. And Gilkeys. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Gilks.
Council reviews the traffic signals on Broome Avenue and Beachborough Road North to include the provision of a right turn from Broome Avenue into Beachborough Road North.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Linda Slater. Go ahead, Anne.
So at this junction, the other three roads have.
Sorry, Anne, do you mind just speaking into the microphone a bit more so they can hear you at the back?
Yeah, at this junction, the other three roads have arrows to turn on, but if you wanted to go past the bus and train station and turn right into Beachborough Road North, there's no arrow, you just have to take your chance. Dodge the traffic to get across, so I think you need an arrow. It's increasingly busy there as well, with the train and bus station, and it's only going to get busier with Beachborough Road scheduled for development. There are lots of businesses and houses in nearby streets. I've had so many near misses at this junction that I'm not using it anymore. You're risking your life trying to turn right across the track.
Thank you. Linda, do you wish to speak to it?
I don't know Anne, but I do know that it's just well, and it is dangerous. And I would just, yeah, great idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Got it? Thank you. Anyone against? That is carried. And Bedelia Donnelly. This is our last motion. Oh, sorry, there's one more.
My name's Bedelia, I'm from I'm requesting that the council land.
Sorry, can we please just stop any chatter? Thank you. And if you could just read it and then I'll ask for a second.
The council, the chief executive officer to conduct an assessment of the trees at the reserve adjoining my property in Ivanhoe Street and develop an action plan to address the tree related debris.
Do I have a seconder? George, go ahead.
I've lived in that house for 16 years and I've got this one honky nut tree that just is all over my side of the property. I've raked it and raked it. I've got a hand injury from it. So I just stopped raking it. I asked the council to come out and cut some branches and say there's 10 branches overhanging. They cut 2. Make anything really happen. I don't want the tree taken out or destroyed or anything. I just don't want all the honky nuts on my side.
Thank you. George, do you wish to speak? No. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? No, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? That is carried. Thank you. Okay, we have one more. Sally Eaton. You must have got worried when I said that was the last one. Sat through the whole thing.
I did, and I was awake, truly. Sally Eaton, and I'm a business owner. I've been a business owner in Marchant Way since 2013.
Just read it out and then we'll get a seconder.
Okay, so I want to ask the city to investigate using the grafter area in Marchant Way as permit holding standing only for car parking for business owners because we don't have anywhere to park our cars there.
Do I have a seconder? Bedelia?
Thank you.
Go ahead, Sally.
Okay, so I've been a business owner in Marchant Way since 2013, and over that period of time, the area has grown significantly in terms of the success of the businesses in that street. The parking in that street is really limited. We used to be able to park our staff cars on the street parking, but now because all the dealerships use that area as well, their staff park on there. We've got more businesses that have come to the area and built the area up, which is fantastic. But none of us have anywhere to park our own vehicles, let alone those of our customers. The Marchant Reserve is an area which is used only for nefarious purposes. It's for drug deals, because we pick up the needles. It's for camping, for people that want to sleep rough there. I'm sorry about that, but it's a problem to us because we have to clean up after them. Also, it's used for shoplifters from Morley Galleria to dump stuff. So our cameras are used by the police consistently for that purpose too. So it perhaps in its day was used by the Mrs. Max Pie factory for staff at lunch times before more and more businesses came to the area, but it's not used for anything other than those other purposes. So the area is actually owned by the Crown, but I'd really like to ask the city to look into taking over the responsibility of that area. It's a commercial area. It's not a residential area. There's nobody living there. We just want a place where we can park our cars safely during the day. The whole street is double parked. The factory has semi-trailers coming up and down doing deliveries. There are accidents there weekly, car accidents and near accidents with people as well. You can't see to pull out of any business left or right. And Aldi now use that as well for their deliveries. So it's incredibly busy, but it's a commercial area. This park is not used as a park, it's just used for bad purposes. So it seems to make sense to all of us that work in that area to give us permit holder placing for our cars during the day so that we can work safely. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Bedelia, do you wish to speak to it? No? Anyone wish to speak? Anyone wish to speak against the item? Matthew?
Matthew Morgan Bayswater. The council recently spent $1.5 million on a car park in Maylands Town Centre for 15 parking bays plus 2 disabled. And then the PTA also, before that, provided 60 car bays where you don't need a ticket, and yet we've spent $1.5 million on parking. I think the message today is that we can only provide so much parking. If you have a look at Morley, ever had a look at Morley's satellite image, it is just non-stop concrete and non-stop asphalt, pretty much surrounding the whole town centre. We're wondering why businesses in Morley aren't doing so well. Well, it's a hospitable place. There's only so much car parking you can provide. It's about time we start having other alternatives and not encouraging more cars by providing more pathways, better public transport and better cycling.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak for? Please come forward.
I don't know you and I don't know you, but I just think to expect people to ride to work and all those people in that place to ride to work is a little bit of a long straw. I don't think you've been asking for a concrete base. You're just asking to park under a tree. Yep.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? If not, I'll allow you the opportunity to close.
The area I'm talking about currently has trees in it. There's no need to remove the trees. All we want is a bit of shingle down there that we can park cars safely off the road. It's a commercial area, it's not a residential area, it's not a recreational area. There are cars parked along the street, left, right and centre. If you're going to take business rates for businesses to try and operate in that area, you have to allow us somewhere that we can drive and park our cars safely. It's the same as you wanting somewhere to park your car when you go home. I go to work every day and so do my 9 staff. I'm really thrilled that the businesses in our street are doing well, and we hope that with the refurbishments of the Galleria, we'll attract more foot traffic and more people to our stores and to our businesses. We pay a lot of business rates, which help you to get your bike pass and help you to have your recreational areas. The success of our small businesses keeps life flowing into Morley. So you have to make it possible for us to work there well. If you make it more and more difficult, we will have to leave the area, which we've looked at before. So I think the important thing is that you support us in this and help us to make it easier for us to work and thrive in the Morley area and keep the life flowing. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now put this to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? That is carried. Okay. So that concludes our motions from electors, and I'd like to thank everyone for their attendance and participation at this evening's meeting. Motions raised at tonight's meeting will be considered by council at the ordinary council meeting of the 24th of March 2026, and I will close this evening's meeting at 9:26 p.m. Thank you.